I'm very excited to be here, and we're going to spend some solo time together today. We're going to talk about what to eat before and after training. You know that I believe in order to train well, to train hard, to recover well, we've got to fuel well. We need to fuel well to train well. What I'm seeing is that before and after training, the meals or the snacks before and after training are getting a lot of focus, a lot of attention. They're like in the spotlight, on the center stage. And yes, they are important. How you feel yourself before and after training can impact that session and your recovery. What's more important is how well you fuel yourself over the entire day. If you are consistently feeding your body protein and food over the day, but in particular protein, and in adequate amounts, that has a much more profound effect on your training and your recovery than hyper-focusing on that one meal, that post-training meal, that magic window. There's a few principles or foundations that we need to look at. We want to get clear on how much do we need to eat. So what is our requirements? The most accurate predictor of that is a DEXA scan. What does my body use at rest? What does it need to just survive, to support my physiology? So my brain functions and, my body stays warm and my metabolism works. And then we need to work out, what is my energy expenditure over the day? And then we combine those and we get a required calorie intake. So for a lot of us, we need to spend a lot of time creating a strong nutrition strategy and fueling our body. So being in energy balance, having high energy availability. We want to know our maintenance calories. So I want to think about my meal and snack frequency. I want to think about the composition of those meals. What's in them, the density of them. So the calories, the breakdown of proteins, carbs, and fats. And I want to spread my protein intake evenly across the day. Where I love to start is track your protein intake. Are you reaching your goal? So we want to have about 1.8 to 2 grams per kilo of body mass per day. So once you've got a really strong nutrition strategy, you know that you're eating enough over the day, you're meeting your macronutrient requirements, your targets, then we can look at the magic window. Then we can look at this before and after training fueling. The magic window is that 30 to 60 minutes after training. And the 3 most important things to accomplish in the magic window are stopping the body's exercise-induced breakdown response. We also want to take in high-quality protein to facilitate muscle repair. And the third thing that that the magic window focuses on is restoring the body's glycogen stores. So we want to aim for about 0.8 to 1.2 grams of carbohydrates per kilo of body mass. So for me, that's about 56 to 84 grams of carbs. For protein, we want to aim for 0.5 to 0.7 grams of protein per kilo of body mass. Using those targets, that I need about 56 to 84 grams of carbs, and I need 35 to 49 grams of protein. If we can, we want to try and get something into us within 30 minutes. What about before training? So before training, we want to aim for the same amount of carbohydrates. So we want to aim for about 0.8 to 1.2 grams of carbs per kilo of body mass. So for me, it is 56 to 84 grams. Then for my protein, it is a little bit lower. So 0.4 to 0.5 grams of protein per kilo of body mass. So for me, that's 28 to 35 grams. So your before meal is a little bit higher in carbs, than it is in protein. And then our post-training meal or snack, we want a good whack of protein. So the protein target is a little higher. Looking for carbs that are from like starches or fruits. And we want to try and eat that meal 60 to 90 minutes before. Or if it's a lighter snack, 30 minutes before. So what about the early morning warrior? So if you are a warrior that trains really early in the morning, gets up at, 5:30, trains, 6, 7, how can you fuel well before and after training? So there are a few tips that I'm going to give you for that early morning warrior. And then I'll just talk about a couple of my meals and snacks that really work for me. So for the early morning warrior, you can focus on the night before. So you can actually top up your tank, top up your fuel tank the night before. You can have a big serving of protein before bed. So we're talking like 30 to 40 grams of a casein-based protein, plus about 50 grams of carbohydrates. We will always want to pair them together because the carbohydrates are like the little carrier to help the protein get into the body. Cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, milk, big whack, 30 to 40 grams before bed. Then when you get up in the morning, if you can tolerate eating something small, we want to try and get something in 20 minutes before training. It could be a bit of high protein Greek yogurt, honey, and fruit, or it could be half a banana and your coffee with collagen, or it could be a little bit of broth with fruit. If you can't tolerate anything before you train, it's too early and you don't have time, there's a couple of things that we can do. One, you can actually sip on a drink throughout. So you could, if you can't eat before you train, you want to try and drink a shake or a smoothie with really quick digesting carbs and a clean whey protein about 10 to 15 minutes before you start the session. And then you can sip on it slowly throughout the session. You also then need to eat 20 minutes after training, especially if you didn't eat before training. There's a little less pressure on that meal if you could get something in before you train. And you want to hit that 30 to 40 grams of protein within the window with that 0.5 to 0.7 grams of carbs per kilo of body mass. So this is going to help replenish glycogen stores and help muscle repair. So I thought that I would take you through a couple of meals that work really well for me. So using the targets that we discussed, so if we look at before training, we want that 0.8 to 1.2 grams of carbs per kilo of body mass. So for me, that's 56 to 84. So I want at least 56 grams of carbs. Then for protein, 0.4 to 0.5 before. And so for me, that's 28 to 35 grams. So I want at least 28 grams of protein in that before training meal or snack. This meal works really well for me. The balance, the ratio of protein and carbs works really well, and the hit of calories works really well. So I do really well off log meals, so very dense meals that are at least 450, if not 500 calories or more. Oats with milk, a raw egg white, honey, a banana, and collagen. That gives me 501 calories, 26 grams of protein, and 81 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat. So it falls really nicely into our targets for my pre-training meal. I also have a coffee with this. So in my coffee, I also have collagen. So that bumps up the protein by another 9 grams. So I'm getting over 30 grams of protein, 81 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat. Post-training, I do really well eating eggs and toast with fruit, some honey, yogurt, banana, and some more collagen. So this post-training meal that I have is a good hit again, of calories. It's 550 calories in this meal, 36 grams of protein, 73 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of fat. So after training targets, carbs are the same, 56 to 84 grams. And then protein's a little higher. So I need 35 to 49 grams of protein after training. So this gives me 36 and 73 grams of carbs. If I can't actually get my meal in within that magic window, I normally have a smoothie. And so the smoothie has milk, banana, or some other frozen fruit, some peanut butter, some whey protein powder, and some collagen. And so this smoothie that I make gives me, again, 428 calories. You know, I can even make a snack so dense like a meal. It gives me 43 grams of protein and 41 grams of carbs and 11 grams of fat. So the carbs are probably a little bit too low. And if I wanted to bump them up, I would just add a little bit more fruit into the smoothie. So you need to find what works really well for you. What you eat the day before has a huge impact on how you feel the next day. Then we can start to focus on the specific meals before and after. Get clear. Are you eating enough? Then you can look at the magic window. Don't put so much pressure on the before and after meals. Look at the entire day. That is more important.